Tonight, when the sun goes down, you'll flip a switch. Light will fill the room. You won't think about it twice. But for 99.9% of human history, that switch didn't exist. And the real answer is far stranger than you think. When the sun went down on your ancestors, the world turned into something else entirely. Not just darkness, a whole world with different rules. Your senses would change, your hearing would sharpen, your fear would sharpen with it, and your brain, the same one you've inherited today, exactly as it is, would switch into a very specific mode. Think about it for a second. Right now, you sleep in a locked room with a door, walls, and a bed raised off the ground. Your ancestors from 100,000 years back had none of that. They slept in the open, under a tree or inside a small cave. No door, no lock. And the night was full of the sounds of real predators. Does that mean they were afraid all night long? No. The exact opposite. Night was what turned them into something else. Because darkness, for all its danger, did something else that mattered enormously. It stopped the motion. For hunter-gatherers, the day was one continuous shift of work. From morning to sunset, searching for food, guarding against danger, raising children. There was no real rest all day. Darkness was the line that told the whole body, stop. No more hunting today. No more running today. Come, sit down. The researcher, Polly Wiessner, from the University of Utah, spent years studying the Zhu-Huanzi people of the Kalahari Desert, one of the last communities still living the hunter-gatherer lifestyle your ancestors lived for thousands of years. She noticed something striking. During the day, people's talk was purely practical. Who's hunting what? Who's gathering what? Who's upset with whom? But the moment the sun set and the fire was lit, the talk changed completely. It became stories, tales, memories, jokes, secrets about ancestors long dead. Night, not day, was storytelling time. Why, you might ask? Because in the dark, there's nothing else to do. You can't hunt. You can't gather. The only mind available is yours and the minds around you. So time shifts from work time to bonding time. Fire wasn't just a source of warmth. It was a stage. It was the place where the whole group sat in a single circle, looked at each other, heard the same voice. The researcher Richard Wrangham, an anthropology professor at Harvard, said that the discovery of fire didn't just change what our ancestors ate. No, it reshaped their whole society. Once there was fire, there was a fixed gathering place, a place to tell stories, to learn, to be raised. The child sitting by the fire, listening to their grandfather's tale, was learning their whole tribe's values without anyone formally sitting them down to teach. Has it ever crossed your mind that the story your grandfather told you as a child is part of a powerful ancient system? A system that existed long before any school was built. And Wiessner noticed something else important. The stories told around the fire weren't just for entertainment. They carried real information. Who's kind and who isn't in the tribe, who helped and who betrayed. How to handle a particular danger. The fire was a university, a courtroom, and a library all at once. The only difference is there were no chairs and no whiteboard, just a circle, a voice, and a dancing light. Think about the difference between a story told in your grandfather's voice while you watch his eyes and see the fire dancing behind his shoulder versus a video you watch alone on a small screen in your hand. The information might be the same, but the experience is entirely different. Your brain was built for the first kind. The second kind is the one it's still trying to adapt to. But not everything about the night was beautiful. Darkness was a real danger. Our ancestors, for millions of years, lived in Africa surrounded by predators that hunted specifically at night. Lions, hyenas, leopards. Our nighttime hearing evolved for exactly this reason. When you hear a strange sound in the dark and your heart races, that's not excessive fear. It's an ancient alarm system built into you over thousands of generations because whoever didn't have that sensitivity simply didn't survive to pass it on. Which means the fear you feel walking down a dark street alone isn't weakness. It's a leftover trace of a very old protection system, one that saved your ancestors' lives every single night. There's another researcher named Charles Nunn from Duke University who studied sleep patterns and danger in animals that live in groups and applied the same idea to ancient humans. He found that sleep itself was a moment of extreme vulnerability. You're unconscious, you can't see, you can't hear well, so the solution your ancestors arrived at was simple and smart. Group sleep, no one slept alone. They slept in clusters with at least one person staying awake or half awake, keeping watch. That circle, body next to body, was the real safety. And that explains something strange about you today. Why do you sleep better when there's someone else in the house, even if they're not talking to you at all? And why does sleeping alone in an unfamiliar place for the first time feel unusually strange? Your body, without you noticing, is still searching for the circle that used to protect it. But here's the stranger question. Your body didn't just learn to fear the dark. Your body learned to sleep in a way completely different from how you experience it today. The historian Roger Ekirch from Virginia Tech reviewed thousands of old historical documents, court records, diaries, and medical books from centuries past and found something shocking. Before the invention of artificial lighting, people didn't sleep in one continuous block like you do now. They slept in 2 shifts. A first sleep for 2 or 3 hours after sunset. Then they'd wake in the middle of the night for an hour or more to talk, pray, make love, even visit the neighbors sometimes, and then a second sleep until dawn. This was the natural pattern of human sleep for thousands of years, before artificial light changed it completely, which means if you're someone who wakes up suddenly in the middle of the night for no clear reason, and you worry something is wrong with you, relax. It's not a malfunction. It's an old echo of a sleep system that was natural for your ancestors for thousands of years. There's another strange thing too. Fire itself had an unexpected effect on the human mind. The researcher Christopher Lynn from the University of Alabama studied the effect of watching flame on people's relaxation levels. He found that simply sitting in front of a burning fire actually lowers blood pressure and calms the nervous system. Your body, to this day, reacts to fire in a special way. Not just for warmth. Your brain, over millions of years, learned that fire means safety, community, protection from the darkness outside the circle. So when you sit in front of a fireplace or a campfire today and feel a strange calm, that's not a coincidence. Your body is taking you back to a very ancient moment, a moment when light and warmth meant you were safe and protected from everything outside the circle. That same researcher, Richard Wrangham, in his book on the origin of fire and cooking, said something else that completely changed our understanding of human evolution. When our ancestors started using fire to cook, not just to keep warm, food became easier to digest, and the body started gaining more energy for less effort. Where did that extra energy go? To the brain. The human brain grew at an unprecedented rate in the period after cooking was discovered, which means, and here's the strange part, the fire you thought was just a heating tool might be a direct reason your brain is the size it is today. And that's not all. Once there was fire, there was free time at night, time that hadn't existed before. The entire day used to go toward hunting, gathering, and escaping danger. Night around the fire was the first time in the history of living beings that there was time with no specific task. Time for idleness, time for storytelling, thinking, planning. Some researchers say this idle time, the stretch after sunset and before sleep, might be exactly what allowed language, art, and religion to emerge. Without fire, there simply wasn't enough time for a human to sit and think about anything beyond survival. Which means every time you crack a joke with friends at night, or lie there thinking about your life while waiting to fall asleep, you're doing exactly what your ancestors did around the fire 100,000 years ago. That idle time, which sometimes feels like it's wasted, is the very thing that created every story, every idea, and every invention that brought you to this moment. So what does all of this have to do with you now? You're still carrying this entire system inside you. The instinct to fear the dark, the tendency to wake up at midnight, the need for a safe circle where you feel protected. But the problem is, the world around you has changed completely, while the old system is still running on the same rules. Instead of fire, you now have a phone screen lighting up your face at midnight. Instead of your grandparents' stories around the fire, you now have short videos you watch alone. Artificial light is now everywhere, so your brain keeps getting the signal that it's always daytime, even if it's 12 at night. And the result? Millions of people suffer from lack of sleep, insomnia, and anxiety without realizing the cause isn't purely psychological. The cause is that the system inside them was built for a completely different world. There's another thing that changed the game entirely. Artificial light didn't just extend your day. No, it fooled your brain completely. The pineal gland in your brain releases a hormone called melatonin, which is what tells you it's time to sleep. This hormone is only released when your eyes are exposed to real darkness. The screen you look at before bed with its blue light tells your brain it's still daytime. So your brain, built over millions of years to read light as a time signal, gets confused. It's not a flaw in you. It's an environmental trick you live inside every day without noticing. And why does this matter? Because your ancestors didn't just sleep in the dark, they felt the difference between day and night in every cell of their body. No artificial light to scramble the signal. The sun sets, the body knows, and the mind starts winding down automatically. Now, you might stay awake until 3 in the morning while your body is still convinced it's daytime, simply because there's a screen in front of you. The researcher Charles Czeisler from Harvard Medical School studied the effect of light-emitting devices on sleep for many years and found that reading a backlit ebook before bed noticeably delays melatonin release and reduces sleep quality the following night, which means the problem isn't just you're staying up too late. The problem is that the device in your hand is talking directly to a very old system inside you and telling it a lie. There's another effect not many people think about. Your ancestors rarely sat alone at night. The circle around the fire always had other people in it. Voice, laughter, real physical presence. Now, millions of people sit alone at night, outside any circle, just with a screen. The body senses the light, so it assumes it's awake, but the mind senses loneliness because there's no real circle around it. That combination, artificial light without real company, is foreign to a body built over thousands of years to expect that night is always shared. The social psychology researcher Julianne Holt-Lunstad from Brigham Young University studied the effect of loneliness on health and found that chronic isolation affects the body with roughly the same force as smoking or obesity. The strange part is that this loneliness isn't always literal. You could be sitting in the middle of your family in the same house, but everyone on their own screen, and still feel truly lonely. Because your body doesn't measure how many people are physically near you. It measures whether there's real connection, like what used to happen around the fire, or not. Which means the problem isn't the screen itself. The problem is that it's taking the circle's place without giving you what the circle used to give. So the next time you wake up in the middle of the night, or feel a strange fear walking down a dark street, or feel an unusual calm sitting in front of a fire, remember that it's not a flaw in you. It's your ancestor's voice still inside you, trying to protect you from a world that vanished long ago. Tonight, when the sun goes down, you'll flip a switch. Light will fill the room. But this time, as you flip it, remember that inside, you is a small piece of an ancient human, still searching for a fire, a circle, and someone to tell them a story before they sleep.